just a standalone movie, it wasn't that bad. There's some stuff in it I kind of liked. It's not very funny, but as a Hangover movie, it's completely baffling. In fact, both Hangover 2 and now this one are really sort of clear examples of just filmmakers completely miscalculating what to do with the sequel to a popular film. The second one is, of course, the exact same movie, but they said, you know what? People really liked how zany and funny and wacky the first one was. Let's do the exact same storyline, but take out all the humor and make it look like a Saw film. And this one is like, there's a crime element in the first movie. At one point, they have to deal with criminals. So let's make a whole movie about them dealing with a crime.
I agree. I can't say I'm a big fan of these movies. I enjoy them, kind of, but I always feel like I'm separated from it. Like, everyone else likes it. It's just this thing, over there that I'm aware of. And the first one has its function. It has a pretty solid comedy premise.
It's a good comedy premise, yeah.
A comedy premise that isn't handled the best.
Well, it's handled very broadly, and I can understand why a lot of people like that movie. It just wasn't it was too, everything's crazy,
Yeah.
and there's a baby, and there's a tiger in the room.
Well, and there was no, there wasn't much of a storyline to the first one.
No, I think we talked about that when we talked about the second one.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a mystery, and they're slowly picking up clues, and then it's just at the end, he's on the roof. They have nothing to do with that.
Where is he? We can't find him.
Yeah.
This crazy thing happened while we were gone. This crazy thing also happened. Yeah, no real progression of the story. And the second one is a carbon copy of the first one, even right down to the wedding, bachelor party plot. But, like you said, it's very, very mean-spirited, very dark, dingy. You feel like you want to take a shower after watching it. You just feel gross.
I think what Todd Phillips was going for, and I think he's doing it with this one too, is some sort of subversion. I think that's what he was going for with the second one. Like, you like the crazy antics of the first movie? Here they are again, but we're going to eliminate the wackiness of it. And then it's just, disturbing.
It's going to be about getting raped by a transsexual hooker with AIDS.
Right.
Okay, I guess that's funny.
Yeah, exactly. And then this one again, I started to like this one more towards the end, when I kind of got the feeling that this movie was sort of Todd Phillips' way of saying that he's grown out of making these movies, and he's using the Zach Galifianakis character as a sort of vessel to tell that story. Because this whole movie is about him growing up. And so I kind of got that vibe at the end, I'm not interested in making these dumb comedies anymore.
Well, there's a couple real obvious lines that point to that. I think Bradley Cooper at one point says, "What are we watching?"
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end, Zach Galifianakis, I'm done with this.
When we get together, bad things happen and people get hurt. And that's the point. It's funny.
He's like, nah, it's not really funny.
Right, yeah.
So I really got that vibe that he was trying to express something here, which is, it's not wholly successful as a movie, and definitely not successful as a comedy sequel, but at least it's interesting.
Can you remember me? I'm the one that picked the object. Can you remember me? Pick the object.
Well, this movie, I couldn't even classify it as a comedy in the way that you would classify, Lethal Weapon as a comedy. There might be some funny moments in this buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
But this was more of a crime thriller. It was so strange.
Well, one bizarre aspect of the movie, starting right off, is first scene, prison riot. Second scene, animal gets decapitated violently. Third scene, funeral. Fourth scene, intervention for a man with mental health issues. Are you laughing yet?
Yeah, Jay, let me just say, funerals are hysterical, and so is decapitating a giraffe.
Well, there's a way to do, I wouldn't call this a dark comedy. It didn't have that sort of bright tone of a dark comedy.
No.
But, you can do things like that and make it sort of darkly funny, but I wasn't sure what this movie was trying to do when it started.
No, the giraffe decapitation scene, when I saw that, I was like, oh no.
I was worried the movie would just be...
We're in for really, really dumb humor.
Yeah.
It doesn't doesn't attempt anything like that again. And then after the fact, I'm like, that's kind of brilliant. Like, I just pictured them all just saying, what's the dumbest way to open this movie? He's driving a giraffe down, and the giraffe hits his head on the whole.
Well, he's a wacky character. He does weird things. Oh, he's driving with a giraffe, and it's like, oh no, they're taking like the broadest strokes of this character, and the movie's gonna be bad.
And then it goes from that the depths of stupidity, and then it kind of brings it up to realistic levels,
Yeah.
and then kind of does some coming of age, father-son issues, and then you're like, what? But like, there were a few laughs in this movie. There's a real big one at the end. I don't want to spoil it. Not mostly, but all laughs come from Zach Galifianakis' character. Obviously, because no one else is really funny. They're situationally funny. Ed Helms isn't funny.
Ed Helms doesn't do much of anything in this
No.
movie. You know what movie I really liked Ed Helms in?
No! No! Get it away from me!
Oh no.
So, Jay, does Todd Phillips write these movies too? Because this film felt like a repurposed screenplay that someone found in a dumpster.
Yeah, it did. It felt like, because that's what all those Die Hard sequels are. Every Die Hard sequel is a script to something else that they turn into a Die Hard movie, and this certainly didn't feel like a Hangover movie.
No.
I think it might have been, oh, the ending takes place in Vegas. Let's reappropriate this to a Hangover sequel for some reason.
Yeah, the problem is like you said, the focus of it, or the purpose of it. Hangover movie, people want to see people waking up in a bathtub filled with urine and a hooker on their face, and a monkey running around in a bellhop uniform, and Mike Tyson's tiger, and all the wacky, but we got so wasted, man, we forgot everything. And this one has nothing like that. It's just a little crime thriller, and in the end they slap on a post-credit scene where that happens for some reason.
Well, that post-credit scene feels like, again, Todd Phillips just completely mocking the entire, like, what made the series popular, which is why I get the impression he doesn't want to make these.
Why not make a good Hangover movie then?
Well, The Hangover, that first movie, is just a self-contained movie, and they're treating this like, I've seen the marketing for this movie where they're like, the epic conclusion to the trilogy. It's like, this isn't a trilogy, there's no continuing storyline. The first one is just a simple little comedy movie, it doesn't need sequels. The second one did what a lot of sequels do, unnecessary sequels, where they just remake the first one. And this one, I think they're just like, I don't know, there's one aspect of a criminal in the first movie. Let's hinge the whole third movie around that.
It's getting really bad reviews.
Well, I think it's getting bad reviews from the perspective of a Hangover sequel, because this doesn't really work as a comedy. There's a few funny parts sprinkled through, and there's some comedy that just does not work at all. There's some stuff that I'm guessing was improv that they just left in. Zach Galifianakis asking Bradley Cooper about his shirt for like 15 minutes. Where'd you get that shirt? There's just like long silence and no one in the theater's laughing. You're like, why is this in the movie?
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy shows up and they don't give her anything to do funny. And then at the end, it's sort of like a coming of age story, like a late coming of age story, where they're not even interested in being funny. They're just interested in moving on. It's a weird route for a dumb comedy sequel to take.
Yeah. So why even make this movie?
Oh, I can tell you why.
Is it money, Jay?
No. I'm just kidding, it's money.
Oh.
We've been on a lot of adventures together. It seems like you have a martini. In it.
I'll leave a little. I You know, it might be similar to the case with Gremlins 2, where Joe Dante had no interest in making a Gremlins 2, so the studio was going to make it without him, and they couldn't come up with anything to do on their own, so they said, maybe you had something to do with why the original worked. Please do this sequel. And he said, okay, if I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And then he just mocks everything that made the original popular. And I kind of think maybe that's the case with this. Like, we need Todd Phillips to make a Hangover movie.
Yeah.
And he says, okay, I'm going to make this weird-ass heist movie instead. And we'll call it Hangover 3.
Yeah, I don't know if I get the Joe Dante Gremlins 2 vibe, like, I'm throwing the whole project, because it was too cohesive, too linear, too well done, too sensical.
Yeah.
Not that Gremlins 2 was not sensical, but Gremlins 2 was clearly mocking the first one.
Sure, but this movie is clearly not interested in making a conventional Hangover sequel.
No.
So,
I was interested in making a 1980s action heist cop drama movie.
yeah.
So
It's an anomaly of a sequel.
it is. Same with the second.
Yeah, for different reasons, but yeah, this is just the most bizarre, misguided, modern movie franchise I can think of.
What are you doing here? Same old. Ooh, I got into cockfighting.
Oh, cockfighting, that sounds wonderful.
I'm trying to help. Are you out of your mind?
So, Mike, would you recommend The Hangover Part 2?
I would not recommend Hangover Part 2, but I would recommend Hangover Part 3.
To who, though? That's the weird thing.
Yeah.
Hey, did you like the first one? Were you a big fan of the wacky comedy of the first one? Watch this one where people get shot in the head and dogs get their necks snapped.
Yeah.
And a chicken gets smothered with a pillow, and none of it is played for laughs.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't recommend it. I'm trying to think, like, me personally, I laughed a couple times at Zach Galifianakis, but the stuff that is in the movie, the stuff that makes up the non-human parts, was fairly watchable. I'd give it a solid C, and I'd say watch it on your box seat.
I would maybe recommend renting it if you're curious to see just a sequel that is so far off of what made the original movie popular. It's sort of interesting, and it's entertaining enough as its own movie. So I guess the answer is I don't fucking know or care if you should watch this or not.
My name's Alan and I bought a giraffe. Oh, my life is great.
So after seeing a movie that was surprisingly watchable, we decided to check out a movie that was a can't-miss hit, After Earth.
Afterbirth?
Crash landed. 2 confirmed survivors. Son, this is not training.
You okay over there?
Laxative?
After Earth takes place 1,000 years after our planet has been destroyed. In the film, Will Smith plays Cypher Rage, and his wife Jaden Smith plays his son, Kitai Rage. The two crash land on the desolate planet, injuring Cypher to the point of being immobile, which means it's entirely up to Kitai, to travel across the dangerous landscape to retrieve their spaceship's distress beacon, which leads to lots of exciting scenes of a kid walking around in the woods. Eventually, because things have to happen in a movie, Kitai fights the Cloverfield monster. Mike, what did you think of After Earth?
Well, Jay, this movie sucked my balls. Well, okay. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting. It has the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score ever. There was a negative score.
Wow.
So the movie reviewers went to see it and died. As soon as we heard that it was written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, we expected only the worst. And that's what we received.
Yeah, I got exactly out of this what I was expecting to. I will say, if you're a big Hollywood director, I would think one of your top priorities would be to make sure that your lead actor enunciates words.
Well, therein lies the problem, Jay, because this movie, I haven't read up too much about it, but from what I understand, it's essentially a vanity project for Will Smith's son.
Will Smith has to let everyone know that talent runs in the family.
That his loins shoot talent out.
Yes.
And that his offspring are just as talented and awesome as he is, even if he has to prove that with a check. I guess his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, or whatever the fuck her name is, I guess she was in a hardcore metal band. He paid thousands and thousands of dollars to ship in dummies to sit in seats in theaters.
Oh, so it looks like the theater
it was full.
Oh, okay.
And we also can't forget that Will Smith also tried to turn his daughter into a pop star. Little Willow Smith, who was a mere 7 years old when he dressed her up in a whore's outfit and made her sing a song about fucking. It was completely Willow's idea. It wasn't Will Smith saying, I do music and acting.
Yeah.
This child will do music, this child will do acting. His kids would never have thought, like, Dad, you do music, you do movies, but really I wanna become a veterinarian. No, his talent, it's just exploding from his loins. Whoever he fucks and impregnates and gives birth, that child would be just as big of a celebrity as him, or else he'll pay for it. He'll write the checks.
And the little Jaden Smith in this movie is just a terrible actor.
Well, to be fair, we don't know the story behind it. We do know that Will Smith commissioned the movie, like the script. I want you to write a vehicle movie for my son. We pretty much know that. But whether or not he's grabbing the kid by the ears and saying, you want to be an actor, you better be an actor, I don't know.
Well, and it's reflected in the movie, because the whole movie is Will Smith puppeteering his child.
Yeah.
His child is like his avatar in this film. It's very weird.
It has a creepy art imitates life thing going on with it.
Because I guess we should explain what that is that they crash land on the planet, Will Smith's legs are broken, and so Jaden Smith has to go to the tail of the ship, which is far distance away, and so Will Smith is communicating with him while he's making this little journey and telling him what to do the entire way.
It's a simple survival story.
Very, very simple.
It's also really little coming-of-age story as well.
Well, the coming-of-age story, it's the kid learns to stop listening to everything his dad tells him to do and just do what his dad probably wants him to do without him having to tell him.
It's also a very, very heavy-handed Moby Dick retelling.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and that everything is very blatant in this movie. The themes of the movie, everything is very surface level and on the nose.
Yeah.
Will Smith at one point is explaining, because his character has the ability to ghost, they say in the movie, which means he has no fear. He can fight all these crazy Cloverfield monsters, and he feels no fear. And his son is asking him when he discovered that, and he says, well, I was fighting a monster, and I fell into some water, and it was very pretty. And then I fought the monster. And then at the end of the movie, Jaden Smith fights the monster, and he falls in the water, and then it's pretty. And it's like, oh, that's exactly like what happened to your dad. I get it.
With this film, it was such a perfect collision of art, entertainment, education, an opposing of fantastic questions. As an artist,
The whole time watching this movie, I'm just wondering, like, I was sort of obsessing about the backstory of it.
Yeah, that's far more interesting than the movie. Most of the movie is really dull.
Yeah.
A lot of it is really dull. I wish there were some moments of unintentional hilarity. I wish there was more of that. Basically, anytime Jaden Smith is running from cartoon animals, I was chuckling.
For me, like, there were good elements of the movie, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I'm watching the movie and I'm thinking, like, okay, yes, Will Smith is trying to turn his son into a movie star, too. Maybe the son has no interest in acting, and he has no interest in doing this movie, and Will Smith is forcing him, or maybe he said, Jaden, what kind of movie do you want to be in? And Jaden just read Moby Dick. He's like, I want to do that. Or I want a movie like, kind of reminded me of the Hunger Games too, like
Sure.
a kid alone in the woods, like fighting for survival. Like maybe he's into that, and other elements too, like he has Will Smith's cutlass. It's this cutlass. It's this double-bladed sword like this. And I was thinking maybe he likes the double-bladed lightsaber from Star Wars. But the producers told him, no, we can't have a lightsaber, but you can have a sword that does this. And like all these compromises and people just kind of kowtowing to whatever he wants in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, is that his idea? Does he want that? And that's like where it becomes a thing where the movie and the story are secondary to the vanity and the ego of Will Smith and his project.
Yeah.
And you're just sort of like, why am I here? Why am I watching this?
You're here because Will Smith needs to make sure you know how talented his family is.
Exactly. Yeah, we're here to fuel the ego of a Hollywood superstar.
Hey, hello. How you doing there? Hello. Like, hello.
You know what it reminds me of?
What is
It
that?
reminded me of that song Friday by Rebecca Black.
Oh, the Make Your Daughter a Pop Star music company?
Yes. I forget what they're called, but yeah, if you're a wealthy businessman and your 14, 15-year-old daughter wants to be a pop star, write a $1 million check to this company and they'll make a song and a music video for your little daughter, no matter how awkward and ugly they are. But yeah, that element of this movie being a pre-made vehicle, movies like that sort of fascinate me too. But again, it's naive to think that Hollywood is not made up of a bunch of egotistical a-holes.
The temperatures on this planet fluctuate dangerously. Everything has evolved to kill humans. Together, we will survive.
Well, speaking of egotistical a-holes, M. Night Shyamalan directed this film. There was a period of time when people were calling him the next Spielberg.
Yes, I believe that was on the cover of a magazine at one point.
Yes, and now they're calling him the next Uwe Boll.
Yeah, what side discussion, what happened to M. Night Shyamalan?
He got lucky. He accidentally made a good movie. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
He made a movie that just kind of works. Same with Richard Kelly. He did Donnie Darko, and then everything else he's done has been like horrible shit. I think it's just you accidentally made a movie. You do that early in your career, and you can coast on it, I guess.
Yeah.
I will say I kind of liked Unbreakable. I thought that was an interesting movie.
Sure.
But, there's some stuff in Signs I like.
I'm insane with anger.
But after that, is The Village. I guessed the twist ending to that halfway through. I was thinking, what is the dumbest twist they can do? Because I know there'll be a twist. And as a joke, I thought of one, and then that was the actual twist. And I said, oh no.
Then there's The Happening, too.
The Happening, which has one of the funniest scenes in movie history.
The greatest comedic scene of all time.
Must have forgot what kind of terrorists are these.
So let's talk about this movie now. Interesting look to the set design, very bizarre.
I was trying to figure out what they were going for. Like the spaceship has sort of this organic thing
Yeah.
going on where it looks like it's made of like bone and like honeycomb and webbing, and I was like, why is it like this?
Yeah, the set's like lots of curtains. The doors are like shower curtains. And then it's like
Damn it, come on, what the fuck?
1960s Star Trek sets for a while. But then you get on the spaceship and then The seats, they're like strapped into these seats, and like you said, it looks like inside of a whip cage. Maybe they're going for they're inside of a whale, like Moby Dick. Moby Dick. Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe they're going for something like that, but it kind of looked like how future technology would look to us 1,000 years from now. Like, it would just look totally alien and foreign and weird, beyond our comprehension. And I don't know, some of it looked cheap looking, some of it worked, and I just like the fact that it wasn't just sterile metal sci-fi hallways. So I like that, and I thought the sound design was really good, especially in the crash landing sequence when they're going through the asteroid field.
Yeah, that stuck out to me as far as like a better use of surround sound than I've heard in a while, where you hear like rocks cracking next to your head. And it was you don't hear sound used that way in movies that much.
It just felt, the problems were it was tedious. It was
Very well. It was essentially that once the crash lands, he has to go to the thing, and that's the whole movie. Is him just getting there.
Well,
He has little obstacles along the way, but there's no sort of twists in the story. It's very very basic,
Not really.
which can work, but in this case, most of it was just tedious.
It was a little hero's journey. It was a boy's journey, his adventure. Moby Dick, Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, whatever shit, literary shit you want to compare this to. That's kind of what it was.
Too sort of boring and adult for kids, but too thematically too blunt and obvious for anyone over the age of 12.
Yes.
And Will Smith sucks. I don't know if that was Shyamalan's direction or his decision to be serious in the movie, but I think just talking in monotone does not equate to drama.
Yeah, that's another thing worth mentioning is that Will Smith was not Will Smith in this movie. He wasn't wisecracking Will Smith. He was Will Smith with a strange British accent.
The accent kept coming and going, so I don't know what was going on.
Is it like the future accent of humanity, like all accents merged into one? Was that their design with that?
Maybe.
But the kids started talking that way, and you can understand what you're saying, and Will Smith's talking that way, and then people are bored in the movie until he kind of breaks that accent for one moment. He's like, "Get on your damn knees!"
Oh,
you
yeah.
bastard!"
And then
And
people
we're
are
like,
like,
"Will
"We're
Smith's
chuckling."
back! Will Smith's back!" And everyone laughs, and then he's like, "I'm back to being Will Smith from the future. And I'm going to talk like a British man."
And everyone in the theater goes, oh.
I was like, "Oh."
I hope a CGI animal shows up soon.
I hear something.
I'm tracking a life form moving toward you. 50 meters. 20. 10. It has found you.
So, Jay, would you recommend Afterbirth 3 Electric Boogaloo?
Nope. It was boring. And the acting sucked. And there was not enough unintentionally funny moments to make it worth it on that level either.
No. There's a
It
couple
was a dull slog.
There was a couple of funny moments where you giggled, like
There was a few.
like corny, sacred kind of shit.
The part that really made me laugh was you were actually in the bathroom at the time. You weren't in the theater for the funniest part, which is the atmosphere on Earth now changes drastically to the point where some times it starts to freeze.
Oh, yeah.
And so Jaden was low on energy and it was starting to freeze. And then the eagle from earlier in the movie showed up and it dug a hole for him and it put him in the hole. And then it covered up the hole. And then the eagle just died from freezing to death.
Oh, the eagle saved him.
The eagle sacrificed himself to save Jaden Smith because it's Will Smith's son.
You know what would have made it really funny is if the eagle was Eagle Man. I've got something for you.
Would you recommend After Earth?
No, I would recommend it to maybe tweens, like boys, like 10 to 13-year-old boys would enjoy this, sort of like little girls enjoyed the Hunger Games.
I think it's too dull for them. I think teenagers will be bored by this movie.
Maybe, but
They'll be
definitely.
texting every 10 minutes.
Yeah, definitely if you're a grown-up and you want to see like a Will Smith action movie, it's a Will Smith in action movie because he didn't want to steal the limelight away from his son, so his character has a broken leg. So it's not Will Smith cracking wise and running around and doing bad boys with Mark Lawrence. It's Will Smith crippled in a chair and the kid hauling all the weight of the movie. And if you're a Will Smith fan, you're not going to get anything out of this other than maybe a good nap.
I will say that's one good thing about this movie is you can take a nap pretty much at any time and you won't really miss anything.
No. You wake up.
You won't be confused at what's going on in the story.
You wake up and go, did you get that transmitter yet? And then the person was on the out. You go back to sleep, wake up, he gets the transmitter. In fact, they're installing those little pod things that, those sound deprivation pods that people relax in airports. They're installing those in theaters nationwide to accommodate this film.
Why was it on Earth? Why was that movie on Earth?
Have you ever actually drank PBR before?
So, what are we gonna watch next?
Oh shit, there's Plinkett.
Oh, well, I mean, I was just saying, I was really like Twister. You know, they have, where the cow flies through the air. It's so lame.
No, my vote's for G.I. Jane. I have it on DVD, but it just doesn't connect to it.
Yeah. I mean, there's something about it. It's like so organic. You're like, there's like this fidelity in the sound.
Yeah. DVD's so cool. VHS is way more.
So my vote for the next movie we watch is Night Court. It's like really lame. I taped it off of TV in 1983 with magnets.
Oh, did you say 1983? That's the year my mom was born. That's so cool.
You know, Mike, I don't think Mr. Plinkett's trying to steal someone else's VCR. I think he just wants to watch his Night Court tape. I think that's all he's ever wanted.
Wait, shut up. It looks like this movie's almost over. And that means they're gonna put on another tape soon. We have to act fast. Now! Hey, asshole. Yeah. Listen, I vote that we watch this movie next.
Lamest movie ever? Sounds lame. Nah, we're gonna watch You Got Mail. So lame. So lame. Tom Hanks.
Shit. Jay, I'm just gonna run over there, put the tape in, and press play.
Wait, what does that tape do again?
I told you before, it's got a magnetron inside. Once it's activated, it'll destroy all VCR heads within a 100-foot radius.
Fuck this. I'm watching Night Court anyway. Get out of my way.
I think I want a cane.
Don't you remember I was reading a book on how to build it? I think I left that book here.
Wait, I think Plinkett's gonna say something.
Shit.
Can I have your attention? I know a lot of you wanted to watch something else, but I've decided that it's my party, and I want to watch my Night Court tape. I was nice enough to throw this party for everybody. I think the least you can do is show some respect for your host.
You see, Mike, all Plinkett ever wanted was to watch his Night Court tape. Maybe Plinkett's not such a bad guy. Maybe he's just misunderstood.
I think you're right, Jay. Hey, hipster, why don't you make that microwave popcorn? We've got some Night Court to watch.
I would. Somebody took apart this dude's microwave. Popcorn.
Jay, did that douchebag just say something about a microwave?
If I can't have a working VCR, then nobody can.
So what's the lesson we learned here today? You wanted to blow up all the VCRs using a magnetron bomb. Then Plinkett went ahead and did that for you, causing exactly what you wanted to happen to happen.
Well, Jay, I guess the lesson is if you want something done right, let someone else do it. Half in the bag. Everyone always complains about things on the internet. Alright, so picture check.
This isn't.
Button actuation. Check.
I wish I had safety goggles.
Alright. Looking good. Well, this one's back up and running.
Doesn't it feel good to actually be working again?
No, it doesn't. Because before we were making money and not doing anything. That was clearly much better.
Yeah, but now we're making money and making a difference in people's lives. All these fucking weirdos can now watch movies on a format with inferior sound and picture quality than what's readily available.
Fuck.
Jay. Previously on Half in the Bag. Come what? Half in the bag. Half in the bag. Half in the bag. I don't even know what this show is happening. Well, Jay, I guess the lesson is if you want something done right, let someone else do it. Oh. Lightning Fast VCR repair, this is Mike. How can I help you? Oh, hi, Mr. Plinkett. How are you? What happened to your VCR at a wild, crazy, ironic party? Well, of course we could fix it. We'll stop by sometime tomorrow afternoon. Thanks. See you then, asshole. Oh, hi, Mr. Plinkett. We're back to keep working on your VCR. You know, the one that we've been working on for 3 fucking years?
Hey, look at this.
Or what?
It's a letter from the city of Milwaukee.
I thought Milwaukee was a state.
Apparently they're going to demolish Plinkett's house and put a freeway right here.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and the project is supposed to start today.
Hey guys, how you doing? You ready to get back to work on my VCR?
Yeah?
Mr. Plinkett, why aren't you packing?
Packing? Why would I be packing?
Jay, I think you forgot about the letter.
OMG, I think you're right.
Let me handle this.
Okay.
Mr. Plinkett, we would love to start working on your VCR, but we're required to tell you about a new policy at Lightning Fast.
Oh yeah, the new policy. It's a big policy, company-wide. We just found out about it right this second.
Yeah, it's about payments. We are now requiring 1 month's worth of payments in advance.
Actually, the dumbass got it wrong. It's 3 months worth of payments in advance.
Jay, I thought I was the monster.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about that. You know, that all sounds reasonable, but I don't have any checks. I'm all out. I ordered more from the bank, but I sent them to my old address.
Old address? Mr. Plinkett, you've lived here for 37 years.
Yeah, back in 1976, I ordered 28,000 checks. Just used my last one. Oh well, I guess I better run to my old place then and grab those checks.
Sure.
You know, that's 5 months in advance, right?
Yeah, 5 months. 5 months worth of work in advance, absolutely.
$150 an hour.
Mm-hmm,
All
just
right.
like always.
How long do you think it'll take you, Mr. Plinkett?
I don't know, a couple hours. I gotta walk.
Okay.
Perfect.
We give you a ride, but we're lazy. Jay, I'll be sad to see this scam go. At least we get one final check from old Mr. Plinkett.
847 Hauser Street. You are next. Hey, how come you guys haven't moved yet? We're about to tear this place down.
Oh, we're just VCR repairmen. He said just to demolish all this with the house.
He said just smash it to fucking pieces. He doesn't give a shit.
Put it in a landfill, whatever it is you guys do.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, whatever, I don't fucking care. Alright, let's get started here.
Mike, we have to stall him or we're not gonna get our final check. I won't be able to buy more crack.
Jay, you smoke crack?
Sure, why not?
Oh, well, let me try something.
Okay.
Sir? Sir? Sir?
Oh, he was looking right at us.
Oh, that's the front of his face. Sir, you look like a man who's been working hard today, and you look like you could use a break.
Do you like cold beer?
I guess I do like cold beer.
Well, that's great, because we do too, and we have a lot of it back at our VCR repair shop.
Yeah, you should come with us and have a drink or 12.
You know, been working for 15 minutes now. I guess it's time for a break. You know, if we go on a break now, though, it's gonna delay the destruction of this house for hours.
Do you care?
Oh, God, no, I'm with the union. I don't care about anything.
Well, all right, let's go.
Yeah. It's time to take a break, sir.
Why are you walking that way? Beer.
So, sir, have you had time to see any new movies lately?
Yeah, have you seen that new Superman movie that they're too embarrassed to call a Superman movie?
Son, I'm a union construction worker. Of course I've had time to see the new Superman movie. I only work a few hours a day. Why do you think it takes us so long to fix the fucking roads? It's because we're never working.
Goodbye, my son. I hope some dreams travel with you.
You'll be an outcast.
Now, maybe I've gone to them.
The Man of Steel is the new reboot of a remake to a sequel of Superman. It stars Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, a 7-Eleven logo, and Kevin Costner as a Sears logo. In this film, Superman punches a bunch of energy while Metropolis is destroyed and all of its citizens die, except for Lawrence Fishburne and a secretary. General Zod also wants the Kodak to save Krypton. So, Jay, what did you think of The Man of Steel?
Oh man, this movie is like, you know those simulators they have at carnivals and stuff where you get in and it's like you're on a simulation that you're on a roller coaster or something? Watching this movie is like a simulation of what it must be like to completely lose your fucking mind.
Oh my god.
You're going along just fine, you're normal, and then just like that, something in your brain snaps, and it's all downhill.
Rich?
It's a celebration of excess.
That's putting it mildly.
These both sound like they could be good things or bad things.
No, they're bad things. They're very bad things.
Then let me clarify my opinion of this film.
Okay.
Well, let me just say, I did not like this movie at all. In fact, you could say I hated this movie. I hated it quite a bit. Probably the worst film I've seen this summer. Maybe not the whole year, possibly the whole year. It was loud. It was stupid. Not in a Michael Bay stupid way, but it was just kind of like, it was dumb, it was blunt and obvious, and just poorly written and annoying. I couldn't stand the ending. I just wanted to cover my eyes and close my ears. Does that make sense? Obviously, because of Christopher Nolan's involvement, they're trying to do a darker, more realistic twist on Superman. You don't do that with a guy who flies around in tights and a cape.
Well, the big surprise was as the movie was going along, it was pretty much exactly what I was expecting. Okay, they're doing the dark, serious Superman thing. I get it. And then, on a dime, it turns to complete schlock, like immediately.
Did you laugh at all in the ending, sir?
Yes. I just couldn't believe what was happening.
It really was, like, it just took a turn on a dime. I guess we should say, before we continue, that the rest of this review is going to be spoilers.
Yeah.
So, watch at your own risk.
And if you do watch Superman, bring a sleeping mask and earplugs.
My son is in the bus. He saw what Clark did.
You're the answer, son. You're the answer to are we alone in the universe?
Can I just keep pretending I'm your son?
You are my son.
Essentially, there's 3 different movies here. The first chunk is on Krypton, and that was so fucking weird. I kind of liked it. It was really weird, but it was played completely straight, which made it sort of border on camp, and I kind of liked that stuff. And then the middle chunk of the movie is boring drama. Boring. You are meant to be something. Someday the world will be able to know about you, but not now. That's the actual dialogue from the script. And then the final portion of the movie is the non-stop, over-the-top action, which is taken to levels of excess that I don't recall seeing in recent movies. Well, first they demolish Smallville, completely destroy Smallville, and then they completely destroy half of Metropolis.
I'd say more than half.
Yeah, well, it's hard to tell. We don't know how big Metropolis is in this movie, but it is like 9/11 times 100. You see, it's not like you have these big action endings like the Avengers or something, where they're running around the entire city. But in the Avengers, you don't have building after building completely collapsing and just rubble everywhere.
Is Superman really the proper venue to draw 9/11 comparisons? I mean,
Well, the world needs a hero.
Is it appropriate?
I don't know. The world needs a hero, but Superman's not a hero in this movie.
He doesn't actually save any of these people.
No, he doesn't even seem to notice or care.
He's on the other side of the world trying to punch a giant laser. Well, I guess he's stopping the terraforming device from breaking the world apart, which would probably kill more people. But we need the direct connection. We need Superman saving someone from a burning building, and oh, okay, we got it.
Yeah.
I have to believe that you were sent here for a reason. And even if it takes the rest of your life, you owe it to yourself to find out what that reason is.
This movie is tailor-made to make trailers out of. Do you know what I mean? Like, I kept seeing all those moments, like when he puts his suit on, like he finds it in a ship and he puts his suit on, and Jor-El tells him, Jor-El is his father, played by Russell Crowe. Jor-El gets murdered in the beginning, and then they said, oh, we shouldn't have killed him because we need someone to have expository dialogue.
I think he was more alive after he died.
Yeah, that's true.
He actually has more screen time as a ghost.
I mean, the original Superman movie, the Richard Donner movie, he does talk to Kal-El,
It's like a,
right?
it's like a computer program,
Yeah.
basically. A crystal computer program, but it's
Yeah.
a space, and that's the same thing, but in this it's like, he's evoking memories, and you killed me, like, what the fuck is that computer now? It's like, well, they say his consciousness and his memories are implanted into this thing, so it's like, okay, that's pretty much a person, right?
It's basically a person.
In the original film, it's Marlon Brando and a crystal.
Yes.
And Marlon Brando is drunk and talking through a crystal. And now they're just like, fuck that. Let's just have Russell Crowe appear on the scene.
He'll just be standing there.
So his consciousness and his memories and his soul were transmitted into a computer before he died, I guess?
Yeah, sure.
So that he's alive again, and he just says, you are Superman. He tells Brandon Routh this. He says, you are Superman, and you can fly around because the sun's radiation gives you power. Here's a suit. You should put this on, and then you should go out and discover your power. So he goes out there, and he's like, and then they have that shot where he puts his fist on the ground. And that shot was tailor-made for a trailer.
It's a trailer shot.
And then all that dialogue preceding that scene was also tailor-made. You were meant for great things, Kal-El. You were meant to save them. Put that over this. Yeah. You got a trailer. And when you actually see the movie, it's a big piece of crap.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. They will race behind you. They will stumble. They will fall. But in time, they will join you in the sun. In time, you will help them accomplish wonders.
the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, and I like them for the most part, but I was thinking about it where it's like, oh, kids don't have Batman anymore. They don't have a Batman anymore. And now kids don't have a Superman anymore. Like, what were you saying about Superman?
I was saying Superman was basically created for like 7-year-olds. I mean, it's a concept that appeals to children, not. I mean, Batman. I can see where you can make that work for an adult because it's fairly gothic. It's about a guy who dresses up like a bat. But Superman, the concept is basically what they call a power fantasy. It means you can't make me go to bed. I'm Superman. I mean, they're projecting themselves in that.
Little kids want to be Superman.
It's geared for little kids, and even the older Superman fans, I think they appreciate it more as like a symbolic thing. Superman, he stands for truth, justice, and the American way, and
Not anymore, he doesn't.
he's more a concept than a character. And I think when you try and do an ultra-realistic Superman and make him a real person, I think it all just falls apart.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, at least not for me. It actually just feels more creepy than anything. There's a scene at the end of the movie that I think has a lot of creepy implications. It's like after the day has kind of been saved, Superman takes a military spy satellite and he violently crashes it into the ground in front of a military general. And he's like, you can't spy on me. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want.
And it's like, he's basically holding the planet hostage.
He's holding the planet hostage. He's not beholden to anybody.
He should transcend beyond that a little and sort of become a protector or someone that looks over everybody as opposed to this beard stubbled like a homeless man.
Well, by the end of the movie, he does save Lois Lane.
He does.
Hundreds of thousands of people are dead around him. Ash is raining from the sky with all these dead people in a city that's been completely demolished, but at least Lois Lane got to kiss him.
Yeah. He didn't save anybody.
I was just, at that point, I was just staring at the movie like...
Yeah, I was astounded. I was like, really? Because it's not... I mean, you have levels of destruction in all these movies, but this one really makes a point of showing it in detail. I guess the idea is the ultra-realistic Superman, like if you were in these big epic Superman battles, this would be the results. But when you play it completely straight, it's just like sad and unsettling.
What Chris and David did was let's let the audience participate in the experience of being Superman without breaking the things that make him Superman. They were able to sort of make it
World's too big, Mom. Focus on my voice. Pretend it's an island out in the ocean. Can you see it?
Too many scenes of exposition. A pointless Lois Lane character.
Lois Lane exists in this movie solely to have people deliver exposition to her.
Exactly.
They gave her the superpower of teleportation in this movie. Wherever someone needs to deliver exposition, Lois Lane is there, so they can explain it to her, and then she's gone.
She shows up on a tiny little set that the studio built that encompasses a gigantic city of destruction.
She's also places she shouldn't be because the script needs her to do something.
Oh yeah, she's on, Zod says, Lois Lane needs to come on my ship. Why?
So that Russell Crowe can tell her how to arm the bomb and send them back to their own galaxy or wherever the fuck was happening.
And then at the end of the movie, she's on the fighter jet.
She's on the,
For some reason.
For no reason whatsoever.
She's not military personnel.
Yeah. She's on there so she can get sucked out, is what I have to say.
Yes.
So in addition to all these wonderful things that made the script flow, like pacing problems, rearranged scenes, big, dumb, loud ending that went on for 40 minutes, the general plot of the movie, the general idea was always lost on me. And I don't know, like, it always seemed just like this big contradiction. Like, Batman, we compare to Batman, okay?
Yeah, that's fair with this movie.
Yeah, Batman, he's like a guy with two personalities. He fell into a bat cave, his parents got killed. He's terrified of bats, so he becomes a weird vigilante. You completely understand his character. Superman, you don't really understand. You can't relate to him. And Russell Crowe sends him to Earth for inexplicable reasons. It almost becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, you have to save these people, but they wouldn't need saving if he didn't come there in the first place. I like the idea. It's like they're doing fine. We haven't had a world war in 60 years. Yeah. We're doing okay. You know, we got some problems, but we don't need our cities destroyed, or we don't need a weirdo with the bad haircut to shoot a laser through our planet. We're okay. But so the basic story to me is very simple. The original, and I don't know, comic book legends or whatever, but I'm just what's in my brain. I like the idea of Krypton's blowing up on itself, right? And Jor-El and Kor-El and Kal-El and Kal-El, whoever the fuck his parents are. What's his mother's name?
We'll call her Ma-El.
Ma-El.
How about that?
So Pa-El and Ma-El have to send their little baby off the planet because they got this little thing that can fly him off the planet. Okay, and then he just happens to land on Earth. He lands on Earth, he's raised by people from Kansas, right? He's a space alien with superpowers and can save the day. Nice and simple. In this one, it's overly complicated and it ruins the simplicity of it, and it makes it become a contradiction because what does he do? There's like a black skull and he turns it into a mist.
It's got all of the Kryptonian DNA because it's kind of the skull is sort of like Krypton ancestor, like Neanderthal skull.
Do they say that?
Yeah.
I think it's implied. Yeah, and then they put all of the Kryptonian DNA from the skull and baby Superman.
Via Krypton magic?
So via Krypton magic, so that genetic information can live on with him on Earth.
And then Russell Crowe picks the planet. This one seems like it'll work. Or they've been there before even. They sent the probe ship there tens of thousands of years ago. But then there's this like lofty speech, these lines about you were meant to lead them. They will follow you into the sun. Jarred. And you're like, what? Were you trying to save the DNA, or were you trying to send a Jesus-like figure to this planet? If so, don't you know that this guy who wants to kill this baby is probably going to come after him? Or, you know, like all sorts of bad shit is going to rain down on Earth because he sent the baby there. What's the ultimate goal?
The moral of the movie is humanity needs an inhuman space god like Jesus to show us how to live.
I don't understand where you guys are getting these Jesus analogies from. There wasn't any of that.
Oh, well, do you remember the part where Superman goes into a church?
Oh!
And he talks to a priest, and the visionary director, Zack Snyder, has Superman's head next to Jesus in profile, in double profile. That was like a film student shot that.
Instead of Superman integrating with society, it's like the movie's elevating him above everybody. He's better than us, and we could ever hope to be. And we have to try and live up to this weird alien.
Or else he'll throw things at
Or
us.
else he'll destroy our cities.
I can't wait for the sequel to this. He has to fight Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor's wacky scheme to steal the diamond.
They level Smallville in this. They level Metropolis. But look out for Lex Luthor.
My son was in the bus. He saw
God damn it.
You have to keep deciding yourself a secret.
what was I supposed to do? Son died.
Yeah, I miss when Clark Kent was a reporter at the Daily Planet, and he was wacky and had to hide his secret identity. And then someone said, "Superman! Someone call Superman! That building's on fire!" You know, and he has to go, "Ooh, I got to get out of here. Where did Clark go?" You know, and then he
Well, that would
goes.
be far too fun.
There's no fun allowed in movies anymore. That should be on the poster. For this movie. No. Superman just has to mope and be told that you are destined to be something important. In every scene, someone has to tell him that.
Do you remember when we thought Superman Returns was mopey?
The most damning thing you can say about Man of Steel is that it makes Superman Returns look good.
In hindsight, I'm glad they didn't try and dig up the John Williams thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so out
That
of
would
place.
be so out of place here. Can you imagine, like, the end of that movie when, like, buildings are collapsing and everybody's dying? It's da 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 da. Da 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 da. My baby!
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. 9/11.
Superman's like the ultimate hero. He's the gold standard. He's the original superhero, and there's nothing heroic about this movie. There's not one damn thing. It's just depressing and miserable.
It's him fighting evil space aliens and tons of collateral damage in both property and human form. And that's another thing too. One of the most awkward and stupid and pointless parts of this movie is the newspaper editor, played by
Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne and friends, are highlighted in the destruction scene, right?
Oh yes, yeah.
It's like they're the Daily Planet characters that we've sort of been introduced to.
We saw them in one scene earlier, so now we have to care about them.
Yeah, and so they show a space laser come down, and it goes, and it leaves a 50-mile wide crater that knocks over
Fucking
every
suck a
building.
fuck.
Yeah, not only that, you see people flying up into the sky.